Today's flight is special, not in general, just for me personally. Some of you might remember that this channel originally started as a plane spotting channel more than 10 years ago. And back then, I just loved going to Vienna Airport after school, catching some interesting planes arriving or departing. And I distinctly remember how I was always excited to catch the 6 PM Korean Air flight from Seoul. Over the years, they sent so many different planes to Vienna, from the A330-200s they used to fly most winters, the Boeing 777s they usually used in summer, and the one time I even caught their 747-400. And the reason why I even started making true reports 10 years ago was because I was equally fascinated with how diverse and colorful planes are from the outside as well as from the inside. And back then, hardly any content about the flights themselves existed. Flight reviews just weren't really a thing. So I always remained curious about what this particular flight was like. And now, after 10 years, the time has finally come. We're flying to Seoul on Korean Air. Let's go. Aviation geeks and frequent flyers, welcome to this new episode of our flight review series, Brutally Honest. My name is David and we're on our way to Vienna Airport right now, taking the Railjet, Austria's high-speed train from the city, to get aboard our 11-hour overnight ride to Seoul. Tonight's flight will be operated by a Boeing 777-300ER, the backbone of Korean Air's long-haul fleet, as they have 25 of those planes currently in operation. The airline has a whole smorgasbord of aircraft types in its fleet, including the Airbus A380 and the Boeing 747-8. But the 777 remains its most important type, operating plenty of mid-haul flights within Asia, as well as lots of their long-haul services to North America and Europe. We just arrived at Vienna Airport and are now heading up to check in for our flight, which is located in Terminal 3. I highly appreciate Korean Air setting up a sign that specifies when check-in starts. As an aviation geek, I'm always at the airport way too early, so that helps. I also love how they still have a mechanical scale where you can check the weight of your cabin luggage. Check-in was quick and easy, as I luckily don't need a visa to enter South Korea. But if you are allowed to travel there visa-free, you do have to get the KETA, which is a new online registration that is valid for as many entries as you want for 2 years. Exactly the same system as with ESTA in the US, ETA in Canada, and soon also ETIAS in the European Union. This means we have a bit of time left before the flight, and I decided to go up to the panorama terrace of Terminal 3 to catch the arrival of my plane. On the way up there, you pass one of the most impressive collections of airplane models I know. They all belong to an avid collector here in Austria who has lent them to the airport to put on display. Over there you can see our plane arriving from Seoul. HL8210, a Boeing 777-300ER operating rotations to Singapore and Sydney before ours. The age of Korean Air's 777-300ERs varies greatly, with some being as young as 4 years and others as old as 13. Ours is 12 years old, having been delivered directly from Boeing to Korean Air back in 2010, meaning it likely won't have Korean Air's new cabin yet, which consists of Collins Aerospace's Apex suites in business class, which Korean Air calls its prestige class, as well as Safran's Z300 seats in economy class, which you may also find aboard Asiana Airlines Airbus A350 economy class, of which we have an upcoming video too, so if you don't want to miss how their long-haul economy class compares to Korean Air's, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Our plane has a 2-hour 30-minute layover before heading back to Korea with us on board.
Thank you for your understanding. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
As expected, this aircraft still features Korean Air's old cabin, which is most bothersome for those in business class, as these are still placed in a 2-3-2 pattern. If you're curious about what flying in it is like, I highly recommend you check out the review by fellow air travel YouTuber Jeb Brooks. In economy class, Korean Air still has a 3-3-3 configured cabin featuring the old-school Weber 5750 seats made by a company that is now part of French aerospace giant Safran. I said still in a 333 configuration because more and more airlines are switching their 777 economy class from 9 seats per row to 10 seats per row. That's why it is especially noteworthy that even Korean Air's new 777 cabins feature a 9 abreast economy class. This results in seats being slightly wider than they usually are, but in contrast to other airlines, Korean Air added some of that extra space not to the seats but to the aisle, making it wider than usual. The first section of economy class is usually blue on Korean Air, with the rear one in this earthy brown. The headrests are adjustable both vertically as well as on the sides and have reusable headrest covers. Waiting on the seat already was a bottle of water, a little amenity kit, a pair of headphones, a pillow with one of those scratchy single-use covers, as well as a blanket. But boy, look at that legroom. Wow, I'm 180 centimeters tall, and honestly, that almost feels like premium economy. Only those IFE boxes are a bit bothersome. You see, older seats need more space for the hardware of the entertainment system, and this usually cuts into your legroom a bit. While we're looking under the seats already, down here you will also find 2 universal power ports for each 3 seats. And then there's also a standard seat back pocket, a tray table which can be half opened or fully opened, a cup holder, a remote control for the in-flight entertainment system, a USB port to charge small electronic devices, a coat hook, as well as an adjustable touchscreen. Economy class on this flight was completely sold out. And here's something I didn't know about Korean Air before this journey: they have a sick K-pop safety video. I highly recommend you watch the whole thing here on YouTube. It's so good. The group featured in the video is Super M, and they serve as brand ambassadors to Korean Air and were even featured in a special livery until around early 2022. Engines are running and de-icing is in progress, so we'll soon be off to Seoul. Now it's time for dinner, and 3 different options were available, where I just had to go with the most traditional one, bibimbap. This is one of Korea's most ubiquitous dishes, and literally translated just means mixed rice. So you have your cold fixings, in this case some zucchini, mushrooms, ground beef, bean sprouts, and so on. And then there is a bowl of hot steaming rice you add to everything and then stir. There's also some sesame oil and gochujang, Korean red pepper paste, which you add to the bibimbap, as well as some pickled vegetables on the side, and for dessert a piece of cake. A cup of Korean soybean paste soup accompanied the meal. They also provide a real glass, something I've only seen once before in economy class on Aeromexico last year on a trip we also covered in a video if you're interested to see what they're like. To drink, I went with a can of Korean beer. Metal cutlery is provided too, which I always appreciate in economy class, but something that is actually essential to this particular meal, because you ain't be able to stir that sticky rice and get your bibimbap ready with a plastic spoon. Overall, a fantastic economy class service. I love how well represented Korean cuisine is in this meal. Not just was it tasty, it was an entire experience on its own. Certainly one of my most memorable meal services. Afterwards, the crew offered coffee or tea, where I went with a tea. Surprisingly, they pour you hot water and offer 2 different kinds of tea bags, either green or black tea. Usually, airlines just make the tea ahead of service and pour it already ready to drink, so having a selection is nice. The headphones Korean Air provided are pretty basic, nothing noteworthy about them. And inside the amenity kit, you'll find a pair of slippers and a toothbrush and toothpaste. On daytime flights, Korean Air provides a snack service in between the meals, but on overnight flights like this one, Korean Air has beverages on offer in the rear galley, as well as Korean cup noodles if you get hungry. This was probably the first overnight flight ever where I didn't use the blanket at all, because for some reason Korean Air just keeps their cabin temperature unreasonably high. And that's not my personal feeling or just a one-off. They even say on their website that their usual cabin temperature is 23 to 25 degrees Celsius. For those of you who insist on using the wrong temperature scale, that's 73 to 77 degrees Fahrenheit. And what makes this temperature even more uncomfortable is that this 777 doesn't have overhead air vents, so you just have to suck it up, kind of like my comment about the Fahrenheit scale. The Inflight Entertainment system has a good variety of international and Korean movies and TV shows, as well as an audio library and games. Oh, never mind, no games. You also have a short video about bibimbap showing you how to make it in case you're not familiar. Something that might be good to know for some of you is that Korean Air, as of summer 2023, does not offer in-flight Wi-Fi on any of their long-haul flights. Before landing, a hot breakfast was offered with 2 choices available, either rice porridge or scrambled eggs, where I went with the latter after being riddled with indecision for a good minute while I was embarrassingly stared at by the flight attendant waiting for me to say something. But it was the right choice. In Vienna, most in-flight meals are made by Dough & Co, and they just nailed the recipe for scrambled eggs on a plane somehow. They're always perfectly seasoned and super silky, not the dry bricks you get on some other airlines. So if you fly out of Vienna on any airline, I can vouch for the scrambled eggs. They were served with potatoes and broccoli, as well as a cold croissant with apricot jam on the side, some cut melon, and a yogurt drink. As we're getting closer to Seoul, we got this amazing view over Beijing, with both airports being perfectly visible. There, you can see the massive main terminal of Beijing Capital Airport, and further away in the distance, the unique runway layout of Beijing's new Dasing International Airport. Now it's time to start our approach into Seoul. And to recap the flight, I would have loved to give their newer cabin a try, especially since I'm a big fan of LED mood lighting in the cabin. Older planes like this one don't have different lighting options, so it's just off or on, which wakes you up quite suddenly before breakfast. But despite its age, all the features you would expect from a modern plane were there. USB ports, power ports, a good IFE system, and of course great legroom and wider than usual seats. Not to forget, the catering was phenomenal as well. So overall, a fantastic flight. But Korean Air also often comes with its price. It's worth it, but don't expect them to be the cheapest option.
때까지 자리에 앉아서 기다려주십시오. 선반을 여실 때는 안에 있는 물건이 떨어질지 주의하시기 바랍니다. 비행기에서 내리실 때는 발밑을 조심하시고 계단이 있는 경우 손잡이를 잡고 천천히 이동하시기 바랍니다.
With that, welcome to Seoul's Incheon International Airport. Incheon has 2 main terminals and 1 midfield concourse, with Korean Air and SkyTeam partners in Terminal 2, which is the newer one of the 2 and is even currently undergoing an expansion. I'm now continuing on to Fukuoka, Japan on South Korean low-cost airline T-Way and their Boeing 737, and the trip report about this flight is already available on our channel, so why not give that one a try too. If you want to support us, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and if you have the means to do so, please consider becoming a sponsor of our channel right here on YouTube at the Members tab, like all of these amazing people have already done. With your help, we can further improve our videos and give you the most detailed insights into airlines around the globe. Thank you very much for watching and coming along. I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a great rest of your day, and if you want to continue with a T-Way video, click right here.